Very good evening to everybody. Welcome to the official third session on Excel. Unfortunately, we had to cancel it due to technical reasons yesterday. Are we good to start? ExcelR team, should we wait?
Just wait for 2 minutes, sir.
Yeah.
Wait for 2 minutes, sir.
Will do. Amar, thanks.
Nadim sir, you can start now.
Thanks so much. Good evening once again. So we discussed a lot of stuff the other day. We will continue from there. So we spoke about VLOOKUP, we spoke about text functions, we did some bit of summarization. Now next topic is going to be all about how do we make our data representable. So this requires a lot of summarization functions that you will have to use. We have already discussed these. We will try to use it in the real form and convert some actual data into it. Along with it, we will be doing some bit of coloring, which is called conditional formatting, which will help the system to highlight the cells by itself, as in what your message technically you want to convey. So without having to have to put you a lot of effort to it, without doing it, we can do all of it. So to help us do this, I have a data available in front of me, which should also be available sooner in your dashboard. While this is more going to be like a theory session, I will be doing it. Practicals, you will have to have the file available on your system for you to follow. So for now, I will request you to follow my screen. That should be all. And if you really want to practice along, you can still use the employees table, which I had already shared in the materials window in your ExcelR login portal. Right, so to begin with, let us have some used cases in our hand, and then we will talk about what we are trying to tell. So I have some numbers available on my screen. Let me try to create some amount of summary so that you can relate and try to figure out what we are trying to tell. So I have a column here which technically tells that, this is a sales data and some order is being placed. The order ID is available in a first column, and then against it you have so many other details about that particular order, like what kind of product, what kind of shipping, what kind of product category, sub product category, what is the quantity, discount price, etc., etc. Now by looking at these numbers, can you figure out and tell me something specific? So I will put across some of the problem statements, and then you can relate to it and figure out how to deal with it. So now first and foremost thing is that I don't know if this data is like a system generated or somebody has done it manually. Now, is there a way that by the look of it, can you tell me if there can be a possibility of a duplicate order? Now, what I mean duplicate order is this number being repeated more than once. Now, by the look of it, can you highlight something from on the top and then tell me that, yes, there is a duplicate, no, there is no duplicate in it? Now, little difficult, right? So there are different ways to do it. One could be somebody can make a copy of this particular column and then remove duplicates. That option is available from data column or the data ribbon. Or another step could be is apply a pivot, say count of this particular order ID and see how many times it is there. But then that's again little more complex. Is there the easiest way to do it and just view it, right? Conditional formatting comes to the rescue. Nilesh pointed it correctly. Now, how do I know that if there is a duplicate in it or not? Can be easily addressed from the ribbon home. Then you have something called as conditional formatting right here, right under styles. Now, it has already identified some of them which are commonly used. Here you can choose one and tell that, can you please tell me if there is a duplicate value? Now I have selected the entire column, which is A, and I'm going to home tab. Under home tab, I have styles. I'm telling, please find me duplicate values. The moment I click on it, it will ask me, what do you want me to do? Right? I am telling, please highlight duplicate values, fill with this option. I mean, I can choose that I can have a custom format and tell that, what, my font should be something like this. The cell should be filled something like a dark red, and let my colors be in white. And it's telling that pick up automatically. I will say you keep it white, and then I click OK, and I say done. Now, how do I quickly figure out if it is possible that this can have duplicate or not? Now, by the view, I cannot. To do that, I will have to do would be is apply a filter, right? At the moment I apply filter, the system gives me these small drop downs in each column. For that, I need to do the selection that I needed to be applied to the entire row. So I click on the small drop down, the list of option. I will go with the color one. Since the data size is huge, so it's taking time. So please cooperate. Certainly, it doesn't make sense to have such bulky data and discuss about it. I make a copy or a small copy of this, just that we discuss about if there are duplicates or not. I'll repeat the same steps again. I'll go to conditional formatting, and I say highlight colors which has duplicate values. I'll not do any changes. I mean, if you want, you can do a customize option. Now the view says that no, there is no duplicate in it. One way of doing it was like apply filter, click on this particular drop down and figure out if there is a duplicate. Now I will do is I will try to create some rows in this and I will repeat this. Just observe what happened on my screen. It highlighted that, you know what, these two colors are repeated. I will copy and redo this again. So this has told that, you know what, whatever is being colored is being repeated. Now, how can I filter out only the colored ones? Just apply a filter to this. And then from the drop down, I can click filter by color, anything which is having a fill. So these numbers are being repeated. What did we do? I mean, a simple 3 steps that we took was we go to home ribbon. I mean, in the ribbon we select home. There, I mean, before doing it, primary is to select the area where you want the formula to be applied. Go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, and tell the system that please find duplicate values and click OK. So the used case here was like, if you're not sure if your numbers are being repeated or not. So if at all this number is repeated again, what all can happen? You end reporting this order 2 times. You know, on this date, particular date 9th, you have received 2 orders, but in reality there was only 1 order. How much is the sales amount you sold? You will say 140 into 2 times because the row is repeated 2 times. So it is required for you to be sure that your data is clean. How to do it? There are shorter ways to do it, but if your small data size is small, these are the ideal option where you can highlight it and find if there are duplicates. All right, there's a very good question. On what basis will you figure out if it is a duplicate or not? So the question reverts back. Let's say if this was like simply copy pasted 2 times. Now everything of this is repeated, right? 140, 140, 2.5, 0.5, 46, 46. So it more or less looks like everything is repeated. Very similarly, if at all I have to clearly declare that, you know what, find duplicates in it, the good option is to just highlight the range and tell the system that, you know what, there, please find the duplicate values using the conditional formatting option, which is available here. So that's how simple is to identify duplicates. Now, is there a reverse way of doing it that I don't want duplicates to be highlighted? Can you find uniques only? Can you find only uniques? Yes, that is also possible. But for that, you need to do a little extra. That is, you need to go back and create a new rule of your own. So I will delete all of them, not necessary. I will create a new rule. Here you have list of options. By default, you have an option which is created. It is selected as duplicate. It's the same stuff, but it is readily made available because people use it quite frequently. Now, if you want to find only unique, say I want to find only unique values from the same section. What kind of format do you want? So you get the format dialog on your screen. Tell that I want the cells to be filled into some darker shade and click OK. Now this time what will happen is the reverse of it. You get to see all of that colored, which is unique. That means order ID is not repeated anywhere else. Order ID AU 2015 and 2 is not repeated anywhere else. But this particular number is repeated 2 times. So that's why it's not highlighted. Right, so you can add more than one condition to it. So I can tell that, you know what, uniques to be highlighted this color and repeats to be highlighted slightly different. So I will go to manage rule and then add a new rule telling that Okay, this time do one thing, highlight only duplicate values, but this time color duplicates value slightly different. And I click OK. Now what happens is uniques will be given a different shade, repeats will be given a different shade. No coding, no comment, no formula, no functions, nothing. All is inbuilt within a system. Why would you use filter there? Is it necessary? No, it's not necessary at all. And there's a question here, should I use filter to check it? No, it's not necessary. If your data is huge, so for example, in a screen, you can view only 18 rows if your ribbon is enlarged. If your ribbon is little smaller, you can view about another 4 more rows. But within that, if your data is not complete, then you will have to take help of a filter so that you can click on it and sort data only by color. I mean, restrict your results only to it, and then you can scan. If your data size is something like this, which has got about 5,000 rows, then it's difficult for you to figure out how many are colored, not colored. So that's why you take a help of filter. It's black screen for me. Is this a concern to others? Can you see my screen? I didn't check it though. Can some of them acknowledge if you can see my screen? Great. Thanks for that. Right. So the first step of conditional formatting is to identify unique or repeat. So we took the steps or followed the steps, which is by going home, conditional formatting. Highlight duplicates is available there, but if you want to highlight uniques, you will have to go to conditional formatting, add a new rule, and then choose from it that you want to highlight only unique values. So it's up to you how or what color you want to. System has by default inbuilt few colors, but if you want to increase it, you can do so. Great. So now let's try to move a little ahead and try to see how all can this be benefited. Now to do that, I will have to create a very small summary of data. Now I will first take a step back and ask a question to people present here. So let's say I'm more concerned about which day of the month or a week do I receive more orders. I mean, what could be one or two reasons somebody should be interested to know? Can you repeat? You weren't audible. Which part do you want me to repeat, Sunita? We have completed almost 15 minutes, not 15, 10 minutes. So which part of it you were not able to hear? So far, we only discussed was how to identify a duplicate number with the help of color. So that was from home, conditional formatting, highlight cells, duplicate or unique. That's all that we discussed, nothing more than that. Right, I want to go back and get to the drawing board and ask this question. So I have an order date. Now, obviously, there are 7 days in a week, which starts on a Monday, assuming. Then let's say it's a Tuesday, Thursday, and then whatever, right? Now, how will you be able to distinguish, or what should be the purpose of knowing that which day gives you more orders? I want one or two real explanation. Why would somebody be interested to know which day I have peak in orders? What could be one or two reasons I'm interested to know the order count? I'm keeping this data in the same screen so that you can uh, refer to it immediately. One or two reasons why will somebody be interested to know day of the order to meet the demands of the customer. It's a very good explanation. Yeah, I will know beforehand by referring to my old data what is the demand date. I can have those products available on that particular date. Any other reason? Any other reason? You have the data in front of you, so if you want, you can refer some of the columns and relate to it. If you order something, then what happens? Most of it, people prefer to order online. Okay, Aishwarya says offers. Offers is a little vague. Order pattern. Yes, you can analyze what is the pattern, but what is the output? I know you can identify pattern, but what is the benefit of it, or how can it benefit the organization? Just says more sales. I can say that you can increase sales. That should be the end objective of the business. Right. So if you have ordered something on a Saturday, what can happen? The delivery will get extended, that you know what, you will not get delivery on a Saturday and Sunday, and it will get pushed to a Monday. If your order is likely in the beginning of the week, it is more possible that you can receive it a little early. So it is more to do with like keeping your stocks ready, like somebody answered it. Two is like, if I have a delivery team who's been assigned to have these products delivered, I will plan their working hours or working days accordingly, right? I will have less staffing when the orders are expected to be delivered a little less, right? The incoming flow of orders is less on a particular day. Now, how would it be if you have to answer this within few clicks, right? So all I need to do would be is, if there is a day, I'm telling just count those number of days and tell, right? One, uh, before we do that, I need to prepare the data. You cannot count a day from this. There is no day in this. There is no Monday, Sunday, or Tuesday. Week of the day is missing. What should we do now? What should we do now that I need to get the day out of this particular date? One or two answers will be helpful. I will hide the rest of the data, not relevant at this stage. We will use it a little later. I need to know the count of orders as of these date. Somebody answer this. What kind of function? How are you hiding? Control Z is the key to hide it. There's a very good explanation that why don't you use a supporting function? I'm looking for more answers. I need to know the date. So basically I need to know count of Monday, how many times. Each row is equal to one order. So I need to know how many times Monday is occurred, how many times Tuesday is occurred, how many times Thursday is occurred. Let me make it 3 character so that the system can find it. Saturday, Sunday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I drag the dropped maintenance. Okay, somebody has an excellent way that why don't you use a COUNTIF count A. Okay, let's try one after the other. If I use a COUNTIF, I'm telling count if range is the date. What are you trying to look? I'm looking for Monday. Okay, Monday is written here itself. Now, obviously the answer is going to be 0. Why? Because there is no Monday here. This is actually a number. See that in backend, in reality, it has numbers. It is not date. It's only that I have changed the look of it. That, you know what, the look of it is actually a date. So it has a date. Even if I change it to a complete date where a month is available or even a day is available, the answer is still going to be same, because the column is having a number in it, not text as MON. What should I do? So I can't do a COUNTIF or even a count A. Count A can only find numbers and alphabets together, but there is no Monday in it. MON is not there. Try running your brains, go back to what we discussed in the past and figure out how can I extract or fetch this particular information called. Yes, even if you type a number manually, even then it will be a number. So let's say I'm telling today's date is 11th November 2022. To you and me, it is a text, but in reality, it is a number. I'll quickly change this to you in number. You can observe that what you have actually typed is a number, because Excel automatically converted it to a number. I mean, that's how it should be stored. So it's not going to work. Use day to convert the data. VLOOKUP. Okay, let me go one by one. Let me say, please give me day. Okay, day is good. So I got 9, but 9 is not the answer that I'm looking for. I'm looking for answer which is Monday. MON. VLOOKUP cannot help. Add custom column and custom format. card select day. Oh, select day. Okay, there's a suggestion that why don't you add a custom column? Let's say I will name it as weekday, right? Now I need to do is extract a piece of information here. Day will not work. Why? Because day will only give me a number and that will go on for 31 times in a month if the month has 31 days, right? I will drag it for some length. You see that every time you have a number and the number maximum will be 31, smallest will be 1. But I don't have any question here. I don't have option for me to search this kind of information. COUNTIF, yes, we are reserved. Count day may not work. So we will use the text function like somebody suggested a while ago and tell the system that, you know what, this is my text. Please get me day in 3 steps. I mean, that's the question here, right? I'm looking for Tuesday. So this guy is matching. And then I want Wednesday. So let me quickly either double click it or apply this to the entire data. Right. So I got the days now. Now, since I know that each row is equal to one order, now I will apply COUNTIF. So I'm telling here, COUNTIF this particular column where date is something like this. So I got the answer that these are the orders how it has been divided, right? Now, by the look of it, more or less, it looks like the orders are same, but can you be more specific? Can you try to add some coloring to it so that people can, relate to it and find that, yeah, it makes sense to refer to this instead of looking at the numbers. Now, to do that, I will take help of the conditional formatting. Click on this and I'm telling, can you show me in terms of data bars? How do you want me to fill something like this? The colors actually define what is the size of this, right? What is the size of it? Each bar, the bigger the size of it is equal to the greater the number of orders. And these conditional formatting works with numbers better. There's a question, so how did you do the entire data? It's a sample data set here. There's a question, how did you do the entire data? There's a sample data stored already. Right, so first step is to create a supporting column and extract date from it. Then you know that there are 7 days in a week. We then count it. Count to get a very neat table like this. Once you are done with it, highlight this range. We go to home, conditional formatting, and then tell that highlight cell rules greater than equal to. Now, this is okay, fine. Orders are equally divided. Now, let's talk about profit. Right? How much profit do you get on a Monday? What is the profit value for a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Now, can we get that answer from the existing data that we have? So for now, I will keep the column which is profit available for us so that we can refer to it easily. I'm hiding all of them. So I have profit here, but I need to have a similar kind of bar where I can relate that the profit value against each day. Is it correct or not? How did you copy the data to the entire row? Okay, so the question is, here there is a formula. How did you copy it till the last row? Now, most of you would prefer to do would be is either double click on this or you click on this and then keep doing this, right? Now, the good way is to use navigation technique. I know that order ID is filled till the last row, right? I have already copied this. Now all I need to do is paste in everything that is empty in column U. So I need to first find the last row till where the data is present. So I've taken help of column A, go to the last row where data is present. This time I will not go above on column A, instead I will go on U. So I've selected all the entire empty range and I paste the formula. So I was able to fill it to all the rows immediately. So all this requires is control left arrow key, right arrow key, these clicks. Right, so let's come back to the problem statement. I want this time to calculate the profit value of Tuesday, or let's start from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, etc., etc. Now, if you have to do it manually, you will tell that, okay, do one thing. First select Monday, and then let's highlight the profit column. There are about 7,360 orders available here, but the profit is equal to about 5,37,521. But till the time I remove filter and come back and type this number, I must have forgotten it. What should I do? We have spoken about this. Try getting what should be the solution. Now I need to know the profit value if the day is equal to Monday. Quickly, let me see who can guess it. No luck. I'll repeat the problem statement again. Count will count the text. I don't think so that's going to work. We have already done the count to know the number of orders, but you can't count profit. COUNTIF, no, count is counting, right? So let's say if you have a currency of 5 rupees, 10 rupees, and let's say 50 rupees. If you count and tell that I have 10 notes of each denomination, total denomination, then that is not sum, right? You cannot tell that what is the value of money you have. You will only tell the count of it. Match? No, there is no match. We already lost. I know you're puzzled what I'm talking. Okay, so we use sum if. We are telling try to sum the column profit. But here it tells that you tell me the range first. So I know the range is going to be my weekday. I am looking for Monday in it, and I want to sum the profit column. I close it. Now I know what is the value of profit for that particular day, right? This again is nearly same. I mean, it's a manually created data. That's why it is. So it has decimals. Let me change it to something which is more suitable. So let me change it to currency. This time, let me color it in terms of, let's say, top bottom rule. Now let us use the color scale, where the lighter the shade means the lesser profit, the darker the shade means the higher the profit. So the most profitable day could be is this one. The least profitable day would be a darker shade, which could be like, I know it's a little difficult. I am specifically a little not good with colors. It should be somewhere here, where it is 27,000, 5,27,581. Right. So there are multiple ways how you can represent your data, but for smaller scale, where your data is little small and makes more sense to look only with the help of these scales. You don't really have to create a chart as such. Charts are really required, but yes, if your data size is big. But for small quantity of data or small tables, use the conditional formatting. This will have more impact. Can we use max to know the highest profit? Yeah, you can definitely use max to know the highest profit. So let's say if you want to know which is the highest profit, you can get it, but which day it is, for that you need to add some more situation, more formulas to get the answer. Right, so let's move on and try to get expenses for a particular day, which could be like, there should be another column in this data. Let me hide all the columns and find if there is a cost involved here. Achha, there is a shipping cost. Let's try to understand what is the shipping cost at a different date. Okay, now we know that there are days, there are months, but can I like get the data count of orders? But here I want month. I'm hiding this for some time. Let's say I want Jan here, Feb here, March, April, May, and then for 12 months. Right. So I need to know would be is now count of orders for each of this month. What function can I use? What function can I use that, you know, which function is suitable? I mean, your question is a little not clear here. Okay, now I'm telling count me the orders for Monday in Jan. Count me the orders for Tuesday in Jan. Count me the orders of Wednesday in Jan. What function should I choose? I need to know the number of orders that we used to receive for the month of Jan for the day in Jan called Monday. Similarly for 7 days and similarly for 12 months. Can we try? We have already done one for total orders. The entire data has about 5,000 rows, which is 5,000 orders. Now, or 50,000 orders. Now, if you want to divide it or split it between 12 months, what option should I choose? What function can help? COUNTIF. Okay, let me try COUNTIF. Is equal to COUNTIF. There are two words for COUNTIF. And it's telling range. So I want to count it for month. Month is available here, but I don't have an option to put day. What should I use? I need to count two criteria. Yeah, my screen had answered it already. So we use this COUNTIFS. That is more than one condition. First condition is count the month, right? So I am telling that month column is remaining in T and the month is going to remain in the row 3. Now I need to count days, right? So days here, which is not going to change. And my day is available in column AC. Row may change based on my copy paste region. So I close it. This tells me that there are 609 orders in Jan, which came on a Monday. Let's do a filter to do a cross check if my answer is correct. So I want only Monday, and then I want only January. You can see the bottom of my screen. It already has given the answer that there are 609 rows in the selection that we have done. If you want to cross check it, I will highlight this entire region. You can see the count is 609. Now, similarly for the other columns also, we use SUMIFS, which will summarize the sum of profit, sales, whatever column you select accordingly. Now, since I have applied the dollars wherever applicable, all I can do would be is copy and paste this data to get decent answer for each day, right? Now I can do is can you tell me which month has greater orders for the same day? Possible? Yes, possible. Is it possible for you to tell me which day has lesser orders in a row format? All that is possible. Let's try to do it. And I tell that, try to give me data bars only. Right? The bigger the bar, the greater the profit. So I can increase the size of it and do whatever. So it can go like vertically, it can go like horizontally, whichever is convenient to you or whichever is actually making sense. So in Jan, which day has better order rate? In Feb, which day has better order rate, etc., etc. So you just need to do what we is change your selection accordingly, highlight the colors, and then there you go, you get the answer. Now it's up to you how you want to really make use of these colors. You want to create your own custom rule, then go back to the system and tell that, okay, do one thing, decide something between a gray and a red or whatever. So you have 2 color scale, 3 color scale, and so on. Yesterday I missed the attendance form. Is it a problem? Not much, dear. You need to write an email to ExcelR. They can help you with it. Right. So we got to know the answer of how to figure out if there is, whichever date has got a better response rate and which day has lesser one. So let's try to move to the next part of it and try to understand how does icon sets work. So for now, I will delete this and maybe we will use something else. And let's say I will create a custom column that, you know what, there is so much of data in it, and not necessarily that I am able to figure out if all that information that I have in my screen is sufficient for me to work out. So for example, let's say that there is a shipping cost plus there is a discount of 5%. That means there is more to it. Like, so if at all I have to say that my cost or actual thing which I have not earned from the customer as a turnover, you will tell that sales is equal to the company's turnover for that particular year, month, whatever. How to check highest profit in a month? Can you please say how to check the highest profit in a month or a day? MaxFS is the function that you will use. Again, there is a question, can you figure out how to find highest profit in Jan? Which day? I want to know in Jan on a Monday, what is the highest profit we have made? So if you want to find it, so I will say MaxFS. I need to first figure out which is the maximum range. So I'm looking for profit and I want two conditions. First condition is that I need to know month, and I say this is my month. I need to know day. So I will say day will not change and the day is going to be this. Right, so here you got the profit of each day. Yeah, I did not fix the JJ column. JJ. Right, like I said that this is a random data, that's why the numbers are same exactly. But if you have some real data, it will make a lot of sense. Right, it's like same data being repeated again, only dates are being changed. Right, so we use MaxFS to figure out which is the biggest value. Same thing if you change it to MinFS, it will throw you the smallest value. Right, COUNTIFS, MaxFS, SumFS, MinFS, AverageFS. Right, so if you want to know what is the average profit that you make in a particular day, in a month, you use AverageFS, you get to see the value here. Right, since the numbers are same everywhere, so it's not really going to make a lot of sense to you. Fair. Now let's make use of the same data and try to figure out and tell what is the purpose of icon sets. Now here I have something called as icon sets. In this, it tells you how is the profit moving. Is it on a higher side, lower side, etc. But then in reality, at backend, there is no icon practically. It's not present. It's just that the viewer can see that the number is increasing or decreasing. Sometimes it could be like the faster the delivery, the better it is. So always it is lesser, the number should be higher. If you want to modify it, you will have to create your own custom rule that, you know what, I want the rule to be in reverse. So I will go, how did I reach here? So same process, conditional formatting. I'll go to manage rule and I say edit this rule, and I will have to only reverse the order, right? So I will say reverse icon order. Wherever the lesser, it will show the better. right? The smaller the number, the better the color of it and the pointing of it will be on the top. Rest of all, if it is greater, it will come smaller. So for example, rank. If you say first rank, obviously it will show on the upper side. If you say 100 rank, it will show on the lower side. Somewhere on anybody on 50th, it will show an arrow which is pointing to the right. So you're nearly in the average kind. So this is the use of icon sets. In a shorter time, we try to count stuff like how many orders we have, what is the profit value, how to identify it, how to identify cost with the help of summarization. Now we also spoke about what is conditional formatting, how to manage with it. Now you have list of options where you can highlight your data in terms of colors like these, or you can show color scale that what it should be darker shade or a lighter stage scale, whatever you prefer. Or you can choose between icons. Like my personal favorite one would be this one, where it's a mini graph kinds where a column bar is being shown, and that's even more or better readable. Like how many bars are selected means that is equal to the profit. If everything is full, that means this guy is on the top. Right? So bunch of option available and more easy for anybody to interpret the data than looking at the actual numbers, right? So if you look at the initial number, it doesn't see that there is bigger difference between each number. But if you look at icon sets, they have got greater detailing to say that what these grayish means they are actually not doing well. But if you see the darker ones, yeah, I think that makes more sense and clarity. Right. So now let's try to create a very basic or mini dashboard kinds, which will help us summarizing the data of about 50,000 rows in one screen. Now, as a businessman, I will be interested to know what sales, profit, and maybe I will be interested to know like how much time are you taking to deliver. How can we keep those symbols? One time is sufficient, dear, your question. Which symbols do you want to keep? You want to keep these symbols? Is that the question? Right? So if that is the one, you need to go to home, conditional formatting. I choose icon sets. I have this particular area. So the symbols as you call are available here. Right, so let's try to create a mini dashboard. So first of all is that I need to decide what kind of data do I want to show. So obviously I'm interested to know is maybe, can you tell me month-wise sales? So for that I would want to know would be is, can you tell me the month names? So I will have to have unique numbers of those. And I need to know would be sales. Then I'm interested in profit and maybe cost. Cost would be shipping cost, and sometimes it could be discount as well. So let's keep discount for now aside and then talk only about sales, profit, and cost. Now, to summarize sales for Jan, I will use a function which is, what should I use? COUNTIF or SUMIF or SUMIFS or COUNTIFS? I'll break the mystery. So I need to know based on month. I know there are no duplicates in the given data set. So I will keep it as simple as possible. So I got the sales that I have received. I need to know the profit. So let's try to get the profit in place. So I will use a SUMIF column because my profit column is actually in. So SUMIF, try to find the month first. Month is in column T, and I say my month is available in row number 2, and the profit is available in column. Which column? Yeah, it is in D. So we say we're done with the profit. I have cost. Now cost is much similar, so I will reuse the same formula. I pressed F2 to get into the edit mode. All I need to change is this column J, which is having profit, to cost, which is column K. So I will simply replace J to K to get the cost of it. Right. Now, what interesting would be is, can you tell me cost per order? I know there is profit, there is cost, but can you tell me cost per order? How do we do that? Now, this is a clean summary. This is all that I'm looking for, but can you tell me cost per order? And maybe you can show profit in terms of percentage of sales, etc. We will talk about it. Or this was orders, count of orders. Now, how to calculate cost per order? And I want to show it in a form of maybe a graph. How to calculate cost per order? That means if 50 rupees is cost of one particular order, and if you have done like 100 deliveries, then what should you do? Cost per order. COUNTIF? No, that's not going to work. Average if can work. Right, so I have cost of total 4,365 orders. I need to know the value of it, which is cost per order. That's a very simple mathematics. I will tell cost divided by total orders we have received. So I got that the order per value is 7.3, 7 point whatever. So I will resize it, and let's say I will rearrange it where I can show only two pieces of information, which is count of order, or let's say I will show profit and cost per order. So I'm just rearranging the columns. I will highlight these two and then tell, please insert a very simple chart, right? So I got something which is highlighted and it shows like 30,000, obviously, because the numbers here are somewhere between, or the peak is 35,000, but this guy is not visible. Right, so now we are stepping toward creating charts, right? We know how to summarize the data with the help of, 50,000 rows are simply summarized between a specific or a supporting column called a month. We know the amount of cost and the number of orders we have done, etc. But now I am not happy. I am more interested to know profit per order and cost per order. So for now, I've not created profit per order. Instead, I'm showing profit as a total in that month. What is the profit we have received? Now, this has got two part of columns. One is between thousands. The other is only between or within tens, right? It's not even 10, it's within 7. Now, it is not available is because 7 should be somewhere here in the smallest part, right? If I want to really know a little more about it. See, you see that 0 to 10 would be somewhere here. So it is hidden somewhere in between. If you want that to be available. So first of all, let's talk about this chart. Whatever you see on the screen is called a bar chart. Bar chart can be mixed with a line chart and then create a combo chart. For now, let's talk about having a bar chart, having two columns. So there are first column, which is a profit, which is already visible. What I cannot see is cost per order because it is hidden. You see that the legend already tells that cost, what is cost per order, what is profit. So this color, the matching color one, is already showing profit but not the cost per order. Now for me to have that visible, I will have to do is do some modification. Try to highlight them and change the way it is looking. So I will say format chart area. I just did a right click. Let me not do it from there. I will try to change the chart type and tell that, you know what, try to rearrange them in a different way. I can create like one column and the other one to be a row. but is that enough? No, that shouldn't be. So I'm changing the chart type. I will tell that, you know what, the second column that I have selected is profit. For now, it is, both of them are primary. Either one of them I choose it to be a secondary, it'll change it, right? So it can become like one guy to be a line, one guy to be a column, or whichever is more eye comfortable. So I'm choosing one guy to be a line chart and the other one to be a column chart. So here I get to see that cost per order is available in the column or the bar graph, and the profit is available in the line graph. So now looking at these, you can quickly summarize that, February, though I have higher orders, you see that the order column is higher, but the profit that I make is less. So that means the cost that is involved here is high. March, though I sell less number of orders, but the profit is high. Very similar to that Jan, though the cost per order is so much, but the profit is on a higher side, right? So that's how you are able to summarize. Can you give small numbers of cost and profit? Uh, I could read the question all the three times, but I cannot make any sense. There's a question tells, can you give small numbers of cost and profit? I'm little not sure what it is. If you could elaborate, it will be helpful. So if at all I want to rename this, just double click on it, change the name, whatever is suitable and convenient to you. You want to do the coloring changes of it, just highlight this. You need to go to the home tab again and choose the color. But by default, the chart design already has got some amount of templates which are predefined. You can choose from the existing one and rearrange them. But if you want your own customized thing, all you need to do is highlight them, then do all the coloring bit that you want to. So all that happens from here. If you want to do a little more, then right click on whatever element that you want to, say format data series. You get to see a list of options where you can do coloring like shadow, transparency, line style, and all that. And more interesting one is this one, which will like show a real lifeline. Like, I mean, I'm sure you must have observed this for a patient's lifeline, right? How the frequency goes. So if you have a bulk data like in terms of days, this will make more sense that you smoothen line and then don't show the real corner edges. And so this chart is a typical example of a combo chart where we have mixed up that my primary axis is cost, and then the second axis is the profit, or vice versa. And then you tend to show your system that this is how my numbers. So what you don't get to see here are the real numbers. If at all I want to add the numbers, I will click on this plus button and I get to see a list of things. What element do you want to add? So I will tell that please add data labels. There you get to see all the numbers. Now it is not making sense to have such a big number. I can either delete them, that it is not making sense, or I can tell that, okay, don't show data labels, instead show a table. The moment you do that, you get to see the numbers in the bottom. If it is overlapping, let us increase the size of the chart or resize the number here. So there are decimals which are beyond the expected range. I mean, I will want it to be like rounded off. This looks much neater. So I just highlight the data in the back and rearrange it, right? So I'm able to see cost per order and the total profit that is being made, right? So this is the highest peak, the month where the peak is reached for profit is April and Feb, and wherever cost per order is available in line. Now this can be increased and like be dynamic, right? So when I say dynamic, what all can it be dynamic? Let's say I have type of order that I have uh, received. So there are list of products that we have received, right? So it starts from auto accessories and fashion, etc., etc. Then you have product, etc., right? So now let's tell that, you know what, I have a screen here is available. Why don't I get to see a drop down? If you remember, we spoke about a drop down. So I choose the drop down that I want to see this data only for auto accessories. So you choose that, the table on the backend changes, the chart here gets updated. So I choose the next order, then that again changes. So for that, foremost thing would be is that I need to pick up unique product categories here, because it needs to filter out only that information. So for some time, I'll hide this chart here, and then let's try to get data in that order, right? So I will say select a category. To get the category, I will have to tell the system that create a drop down, because here you cannot say that please find information for car. So you cannot type, or we will not allow it. We will tell the system that, you know what, there are a list of categories already available. You will have to pick up information only from there. Where is that information? It is available in the column E. But then here I have duplicates. I have auto accessories like so many times. I have other stuff so many times. Now, if at all I have to pick unique, there is an inbuilt function in the latest Excel called unique. Now you choose any amount of data in it and close it. It will pick up only unique categories. So I have 4 categories. It has auto accessories, electronic, home furniture, and fashion. So I will copy this, delete this, and tell the system that create a list. Source is this formula, the function. This is the function. Pick up anything unique from sheet sales data, range from E2 till E5129, and it will pick up only unique values. I click OK. Now, do you want to continue? It's okay, bro. Right. So now what happened? Okay, let's do it. What happened? Never mind. Source is this person. Right. So now I get to see that there are some orders, but so far my chart is not getting highlighted. Right. So my chart is not changing. I want the chart to be updated, these numbers to be updated. I mean, we have spoken about it. Let us first define what are the things we want to track. So I'm sure that I want to track cost per order. Now I want to track per order. And then I want to know what is the average discount that I give. Maybe too much of information. Let's limit it to 2 things, which is profit per order and cost per order. So profit per order would be per order. Profit per order would be is total profit we gained divided by total orders. So we got some 71 as profit. Now these are the only 2 stuff that I want, but then this is taking the total value for Jan. But I'm more concerned about is I want to see electronics. As I choose electronics, auto accessories as I choose auto accessories, home furniture as I choose home furniture, fashion if I choose fashion. How can we add? I'm pretty confident you can go back and recollect. We did the same exercise a while ago, but slightly the formula, I mean, the requirement was different. What was so different in it? Then we told you need a combination of day and month. Now you need to apply similar logic and find profit for Jan, but only for category fashion. What should I do? Need to be fast. What should I do to get profit for Jan, but only for fashion? Similarly, profit for Feb, but only for fashion. What can I do? Similarly for other stuff. Ifs of what? There's a response tells use ifs, but ifs of what? Average, sum, COUNTIF, yeah. Right. So to know profit, should I get COUNTIF? So we use SUMIF, But here, instead of using SUMIF, we'll have to use SUMIF S because I need to calculate more than one attribute. So I will have to rearrange it. Okay, let me not edit it. That will be confusing to you. So I will say SUMIF S. What is the sum range? So I'm looking for profit column. So I will toggle to the profit column. That is not going to change. Now I need to find the month. Okay, month is available in the same sheet. So I will choose the column T, then go back to sales and tell that my month is available in the first column. Now I'm looking for electronics, which is the product category. Now I will go back to product category and highlight it, press F4, that you are not going to change till I tell. Now since fashion is not going to change anywhere, so I will put a absolute column, absolute row, and I close it. So I got the value for fashion only. Now if I change this to home furniture, it will pick up data for home furniture. If I pick up electronic, it will pick up data for electronic. If I choose auto accessories, it picks up auto accessories. Now I need to know it for orders. So very same practice we will do for orders, which is say COUNTIFS. What do you want me to count? Okay, two criteria. First one is that look for month, and my month is available in the first column in the dashboard sheet. Then I'm looking for accessories. I mean the product type that I have ordered. Actually, here is my product type. E column, that's not going to change, and my product is going to remain in M1. So I will say absolute column, absolute row. So I got the data for orders. Now cost is still not updated because it is still taking for entire. It's not referring to auto or accessories. I will have to say sum ifs. What column do I want to say sum? I want the cost column to be summed, where month is equal to the month which I am referring. So the month is here. And what else do you want me to consider? I want you to tell me for the product category which is selected in sheet 2 M1. So I will say absolute column, absolute row, and I close it. So I will go back and drop to the last. It's time for me to bring the chart a little above so that it can give some idea. So we'll make it a little more complex and some more interesting insights your way. I will highlight this so that we can really know what we have to do. So select a category. So one, what you get to see here is about auto accessories. I will change it to electronics. My chart changes. I will change it to home furniture. My chart changes accordingly. And I will change it to fashion. My chart changes. Now all that is fine. Let me add some more amount of complexity to it. Can you tell me, without selecting anything, is it possible for you to show the total? Can we use pivot table? Yeah, we will get into that as well here. Nilesh is suggesting, can we use a pivot table? Definitely yes, that's the end result. We'll have to use pivots only than using COUNTIFS or any other summarization technique. But then this is the foundation of it. That's why all this. Right. Now let's try to analyze. Nadeem, can you tell me that I need to choose all four of them, right? I need to choose auto accessories, electronic, home furniture, fashion, all together and show a summary of all instead of each one of this. Is it possible for you to do it? If so, then how? Take practical explanation of this particular formula. It's trying to do a sum of Jan with these accessories, but I'm telling it, if nothing of the product category is selected here, try doing sum only for Jan. What should we do? This shouldn't be that difficult. Try. Try. So it's a combination of two stuff. I mean, a while ago we created the same data, but for the complete year without having category. Now I am telling is there is a dependency on this drop down, that instead of having 4, I will have the fifth column called all. The moment you choose all, this data should calculate the numbers for the entire 50,000 rows. Is that possible? Because it is dynamic, the chart will be showing the data for each one of them. How can we do that? How can we do that? Nearly, it's like my question has the answer. If I don't have any of these categories selected, instead I have the fifth one called all, the formula here should behave slightly different. What should I do? What can I do? Go on, please try. Running out of guess? I mean, try it. It's okay if it is wrong. Okay. If it's on what? So there is a suggestion. Why don't we use if s? Okay, but then I don't know how to write it. Try some more guesses, please. It's okay to be wrong. Select blank in M cell. Okay, I will delete the data. That's what is suggested. So if I delete it, everything goes. Right? There is no data at all. Obviously, you're trying to look for something which is having blank with the month. So sorry, nothing is available because the formula is evaluating to zeros. Right, so to do that, let us first accept that this drop down should have an option called all. Right, so this particular drop down should have an option called all. So for now, it is not having it. What it has is, it has only auto accessories, nothing else. So I will put another column called all, readjust the data validation to, so for now it is from here, I will change it from here to here. Right, so that's the first step, that by default it is all, or if you don't select anything, it will remain there. Now all that is fine, but if I choose all, I get to see zeros. I need to handle this. So what should I do? Okay, what I will do is I will cut short or break this formula into two parts. One is without having all, I mean without having a category. The other one would be is having with category. So I will start my statement telling, okay, I will keep this here, say if or this guy, which is not going to change, is equal to blank, or this guy is equal to all. Then try doing sum but without the category. Right, so this time it's doing only sum of Jan, but here it's doing sum of Jan plus the category. So all I will do is close this. I got the answer for all. Okay, I missed the dollar symbol here. So I got the answer. Same stuff I will do it here, which is like if or either nothing is selected, which is equal to blank, two double quotes mean is equal to blank, or this is already selected to all. Then all you need to do would be is repeat the same function but limit the criteria, which is do not consider product category at all. Consider only the month. Month column is T, month reference is in A3. So this is the shorter version of it. So I will close this. I'm done with it. I will just tell that you are not going to change. So I got order per value. I will repeat the same process again. If two conditions are either this could be blank or this is equal to all. Then repeat this particular story that do a sum if but not the category. So I will delete the category process and I close it. I will just say absolute column, absolute row, so that does not create much issue for us. Now let us bring the chart back on top and see how the things work. So I have selected all. I will choose auto electronics. I will choose electronics, home furniture. I will keep fashion. So it's toggling after one after the other. I will delete it. So it will show total data. So I have applied a condition that if my column, sorry, the cell M1 is blank or it has all, either one of them is evaluating to a true, then do a sum if of only month and column K, right? Find the column, this particular month in column K and give me a total of something. Same stuff goes for others. Now you can try to create simple charts with the help of these summarization functions without having to have or loading information in a pivot, right? Pivot has some or the other kind of dependency, but that is more convenient and better to use than using a conditioning statements or using a summarizing functions like these. That obviously has upper hand than having formula to it, but this, like I said a while ago, is the foundation of it. That's how your pivot table also works. So we will step into pivot table, but try to get the logics of how things work, right? Interesting stuff. So we can add a lot of information. So let's say that I want to know who are the top 5 for people who are ordering more, what are the top 5 selling products, etc., with the help of formulas itself. But for now, I will leave it here. That so far we discussed about how to create chart, how to summarize data, how to add formulas to ensure that my chart is becoming dynamic and keeps user defined or can be published the way the user wants to see the data. So coming next, I will be talking about pivot, which will reduce the effort that we applied all this while in creating this in terms of functions. I know this is manual, but this is more powerful, fast. But pivot has its own restrictions. I will talk about it as we move. So until now, if you have any question that you want to pose, you can please. Anything specific to this particular process of extracting information from a given data, I will be happy to help. Now let's jump to the next topic. Nothing for me? Come on, that's not possible. Give me one quick minute while I pick up your questions. There are 3 messages for me. How you linked M1 cell value with the data. I wish I could have spoken about shortcut keys, but I cannot really. How you linked M1 cell value with the data. Okay, so the practice sheet is available on the ExcelR portal. You need to log in with the username and password. And about there's another question which tells how did I link the M1? M1, if you're talking about the drop down, I just created it from the data validation bit, right? So the source of the data is available here. This I got it with the help of Uni. This I typed manually and I just selected it. So that's how I got it. How did I link to the formula? And here I have typed it, hard coded it, and wherever applicable, this we had already discussed, right? Manual data and then this particular name. Okay. Not drop down. As we change category and M1, the chart changes. Yeah, so the thing is, when I wrote this sum if, I have linked it here to the last. So there are two conditions to check. One is the sum by itself, that's the first column. Then the first criteria is to find the month and match the month. Month is available here. The next criteria is to go to the category column, find the category which is available in M1. So that's how it was linked. If you want, I can repeat the process again. Great, thanks. Okay, let's try to cover or make this data a little more explanatory and figure out if we can add more value. Okay, here I have a situation that, you know what, there are some amount of orders that you receive, right? So there is an order priority that somebody is told that it is a critical order or a high priority, medium priority, and let's see if there is anything more than that. Yeah, so there are 4 attributes: critical, high, low, medium. Now here again, let us see that tell the system that, you know what, there is this amount of information, but for all these 12 months, let me give a breakup of all the type of orders that I have received. So what is the contribution of medium, critical, high, low, etc. If you want to do so, what better option for anybody recommended to prepare would be is create a donut chart. What will a donut chart do? It will create a circle which will have a bifurcation of each one of them. So we will try to create a pie chart, not a dome. So first, let's try to get the unique order priority items in our main sheet. So let's say, do one thing, dear. Try to find uniques. Now there are different ways to get unique. One is the formula one, or the other one could be is just repeat your entire column, recreate it somewhere, and then remove duplicates. So to remove duplicates, go to data. You have remove duplicates here. It will say which columns you want me to remove. I'll say remove duplicates. So I got the 4 unique values. That was one way of doing it. The other one was you can simply say find unique. All this can be addressed in pivot. We will talk about it in a few. So I will select order priority and close it. I get the same output here since I selected the entire column. That is picking up the last one. So I will say go from 1 to 50,000. I don't know the last row number. So let me go back to this and find the last row. It is 51291. 51291. So I don't get the 0 now. So I will change this to value so that things don't go count of such orders. So now I will use a COUNTIFS, the same concept that if this, I will use R, this cell is equal to blank or this cell is equal to all, then do is count of this particular column, which is order priority, and order type would be this one. Okay, that is when you are true. But what if I am false? If something else is selected, what do I do? Okay, if something else is selected, what you do is do a COUNTIFS. COUNTIFS of priority, and you need to find priority. After that, find the order item or product quality, and that information is available in M4. So I will close this, and I got the answer here that these are the priority items. So in home furniture, there is no low priority item at all. Fashion, there are some low priority items. So now let's try to create a particular chart which can make it more reasonable for somebody to understand. So I will create a pie chart. This I will rearrange it right next to it so that you can relate to it. And this can be chosen from the list of options which are available. Now I can simply keep changing to figure out what kind of orders are coming from where, right? So it's the same. Now, when we talk about pivot after some time, your pivots cannot have one click. It can always have more than one click, right? So you need to choose something here and then choose something here. Only then you will get the dynamics of it. But here it works slightly differently, right? So this is one of the case where we will use a a pie chart. Similar thing can be converted to a dough, which will look like a proper donut. So I will keep it to all. Let me change the format of it. Let this also look a little similar to what is there on the left. Makes sense? So this divides. So one key thing that you would want to remember here is that if your attributes that you want to show to somebody is, let's say, lesser than 5, not 5, in fact lesser than 5, prefer to choose a dough or a pie chart than going for a line chart or a column chart or a combo chart. If your attributes that you want to show is lesser than 5, try sticking to a dough or a pie chart. Don't hurry to get into a column chart, right? If you have data like in terms of days, 31 days, then stick to a line chart always. But if you have something like a 12 months or a 7 days cycle data, then try going for a column chart, right? So there are more such explanations of it, as in there are more charts where you can show like out of 100% how much does somebody contribute, which are called a stacked column chart, which will like adjust itself between who contributes how much, right? So this is one of the example of a pie chart. Give me 1 minute. Right, so any questions for me till here? If not, we will jump to pivot. I know we have good half an hour. That should be enough for us to discuss pivots. I mean, we will try to create same information, but into the other sheet. There's a message for me. Okay, thanks. Right, so what is a pivot table? Pivot table is the easiest and the fastest way to summarize your data. It has got whole lot of benefits, which is including reading data spontaneously, very quickly, summarizing it very conveniently, and then you can create hierarchies of it, which is not possible when you try to write formulas to extract same information, right? So if you want to create a hierarchy, you need some dynamic way of it. That is what a particular pivot will do. So from where do we insert a pivot? How do we get started? let me set some rules that you need to take care of when you are creating a pivot. Foremost thing, when you create a pivot, do not work on a CSV file. Ensure that your file is an Excel workbook. First thing. Why? Because the moment you get a CSV file, you start creating a pivot, you save everything, your sheet remains in pivot while saving, and then next time when you open it, all your work is gone. So be sure that when you're working with a CSV file, do not create pivot table. First thing is convert the file type to a Excel workbook. If you're not saving it, then it's fine. If you're conscious about it, if you know that I know I'm working on a CSV file, all I need is a temporary table, then it's fine. But if you are saving it, be very careful that you change that to a Excel workbook foremost. Next, if you have a pivot table and there is entire column which is empty, so let me divide this data to you, and let's say this is how the data looks, right? If you want to create a pivot without doing any selection, now there is no selection to insert a pivot, I will go to insert pivot and then say create pivot table, right? The next options we will talk about it. Then what will happen is it will ignore the rows which are after the space. Remember, the space should be complete. Matlab, the entire row is not having even a single full stop. So even if you have single dot, it will consider the entire table. I just pressed a control A, so it's considering entire table. But if you put a dot here and you press a control A, you see that the selection has happened only top. I'm only pressing control A. Very similarly, pivot will recognize that the data is only till here. It will ignore this. So when you create a pivot, ensure that your data is selected completely, right? From the top row to the last row, which is here. If you want to, if you want that, today the data is only till 2021. I may get some more data and I'll have to paste here. What do I do? Then you will have to either update your pivot range, or you can be prepared by selecting entire column. Now, what does it mean? I will quickly tell you. I will first is in my Excel pivot is not there. Why? Because you need to go to your ribbon and enable it here. Pivot is available in the recent versions of Excel. Okay, so let's get back to the problem. Let me divide this data into two parts before we talk about it. Let me go to this thing we have not spoken. There is a feature in Excel which is using name box. You can go somewhere. So let's say if I want to go to A25,000, it has gone there. I can simply take this data out and I will create another sheet and paste it here for some time, and I hide this. Okay. If you want to go somewhere, you can use the go to option. This is very helpful. Use this option. There are more options by clicking on special. You can do a lot of stuff with it. So for now, I've deleted this for some reason. I will tell you what is the reason. It's all about the data which is getting loaded or in creating a pivot table. So now that I know that there is no space and I have consistent data till 25,000 rows, I am all set to create a pivot. Now, if I create a pivot, it asks choose a table or a range. You see that by default, it has picked up rows till 25,000. Okay. Now, where do you want your pivot to be placed? New worksheet or existing worksheet? If you say existing worksheet, it will ask you, tell me which part of it. So I will say new worksheet so that I get to see another sheet added here. So I will click OK. I got the data loaded. Now here are the fields which are available in the original data. These are the same names which are available there, right? And this reminds me to tell you that when you're creating a pivot table, avoid having duplicate names. It will only confuse you, right? Do not have a weekday column repeated 2 times. It will only confuse you. Try to have some non-similar names so that you are not confused when you are using these fields. Generally, these items, what you get to see on top, are called as fields, right? Each item here, label, whatever we spoke about, is called as field when we talk about a pivot table. Right. So step one to add a pivot was go to insert, click on pivot table, and then choose where do you want to show it. Your data is created. Now let's try to relate to what we created a while ago. So we wanted the month in rows. Just observe it. It is in rows. So very similarly, our pivot has also got some information on the left, which is actually the output. You need to supply how do you want your data to be visible. So it has been segregated into 4 parts. One is row, the other is filter, then you have column, then you have values. Now if you go back and see our sheet, what we just created is exactly same. So we added rows, we added filter here. This is kind of filter only, which is actually toggling between the one and the other. And then we try to add values. We have not added columns because each one of it is different, right? There is no values here. I will talk about values in a few. Let's say if you want to talk about Jan and then the number of days, I mean Monday, Tuesday, Sunday, that's where the column comes into picture. Now whatever we created here is exactly same what a pivot does. So I want to bring the month column in rows. So I will go to month and add to rows. Almost my data is ready. It is already organized in the way it is supposed to be. Very beautifully pivot analyze that, there is a month which starts from Jan and then ends on to December, right? So I have the month ready. Now what I'm interested to know would be is I want to know, let's say profit is as good as total profit value received by orders, which is nothing but average of profit. So when you take a profit as a column, so you have a search option here. So I will say profit, bring it to values, right? I just did a right click on my keyboard. Either you can do that or simply drag and drop. So when you do a right click, it'll ask, where do you want me to put this? So you want me to put it at values, column, row, label, report, filter. What is slicer? We'll talk about it. So let me put it to values. I got the amount that sum of profit is so much, but I'm not interested in sum. I want it to be changed to average. Average is basically total number of times it is available, which is count divided by the sum. Now here I can do a click value settings and choose between a range of things. What is that? You can say count of it, average of it, max of it, min of it, product of it. Let me pick average of it and click OK, right? So it says 64.628. Let us go back to this and really figure out if the product for Jan is same. So here I have electronics, there I don't have a filter, so I will choose it to all. So you see that 64.6 and 64.6, the decimals I can increase. Let's check the next one, 64.7. Here again 64.7. Obviously the decimal is reduced now since it is more than 5, that's why it is 7. So I can rearrange the looks of it. How do I do that? All I need to do is go to value field settings, number format. There I had only single decimal, so I will change this and make it 1 decimal so that our data looks more accurate, and I click OK. So you can see there is absolutely no difference between this and this, right? So I got profit. Now if I want to know cost per sale, this time I will have to tell cost, which is the shipping cost. Here is the value. I will have to move it to value section. So I get to see the shipping cost. So the first one tells about profit, but then by default it shows shipping cost. I will have to simply change this to average. So I will click on value field settings, change it to average. Number format, let this also have similar format that it should have only one. decimal, and I click OK. There you go, my data is ready. But then these average of profit, average of shipping cost, it's not making sense. I cannot really, I mean, the word average is making any explanation to me or giving any description of it. I want it to be written the way it is written here: cost per order, profit by order. If at all I have to do that, all I can do would be is either click here, value field settings, you get the name. Okay. So this name is something that I want to talk about a while ago, and I got interrupted. When you are creating a pivot, it cannot have, just like it cannot have a row space between here, it should not have a empty column in between. If not, your pivot will not recognize data which is after the immediate column, or it cannot have a column without a label, right? So for example, this is missing. If I try to create a pivot, right, I have selected the data, I'm inserting a pivot, and I say okay. So the cache is not updated, so it will not. I will simply refresh it. You get the error telling that your pivot table is not valid. Your pivot report must use data that is organized in an array, organized, but it should have a labeled column. I mean, it picked up data by because it was loaded in the cache. You see that this is missing. If I add some name to it, it will work. So while we spoke about uh, ensuring that there are, what do you call that, consistent data in the rows. Also, you need to ensure that there is no inconsistency in column, or the labels are not missing. If there are missing, you cannot create a pivot table, because obviously it will not know what kind of column is that, and you want to calculate it, it will not, right? So that is not going to happen. Let's come back and talk about renaming it. So when we rename this, it cannot have the same name as it is present here. So for example, we have shipping costs, right? So I'm copying this. I'll go back and rename it. So to rename it, you can go to the field settings here, or you can highlight the column and simply paste it. If you try to do so, it will not accept. It will tell that the field name already exists. It can be overwritten. If you want exactly same, all you can do would be is give a space and leave it. Obviously one space is different there, so by the look of it, it doesn't show any difference. But yes, it cannot have exactly same name. It will never accept it. So shipping cost per order. So I get the number here. I will say profit per order, right? This is month. So I can simply highlight it and show it. Now here, there are few stuff which comes handy along with the data. It tells that grand total, because each column is different. So I have total in the row. If the data is having multiple columns, if I add a column here, then I will have grand total to the right as well. So I will tell you what exactly is total, grand total, and other stuff. So far, we tried to create a pivot. We took care of things like it should have consistent data till the last row, and you just have to insert it. Take care of columns, that there is no empty column in between, so that you miss out some columns. There is no label which is missing, that can create an issue. The labels should not have same name. It will only add confusion. It can definitely have same name. Pivot will not have any restrictions, but then you may end up getting wrong information, because column data or data within the same column may have different numbers or values. So you will end up getting wrong output. So to avoid all of it, you need to take care of these steps. Fair? So what is a row? Row is any attribute that you want to see to the left. Values is any number which can attribute to a count, sum, average, minimum, maximum, product, etc. There are more features about it. We will talk as we increase the data size or try to get into more details of it. Then we have filters, right? Just like you had created a filter manually here, that you know what, I want the items to be available as a filter that I can choose and move it automatically. Is that possible here? Yes, it is possible. All you need to do would be is drag and drop the product category to the filters section, right? You have the product category in the filters section. By default, it has all. You will not have an option that you can choose blank in it. If I choose any one of them, so let's say if I choose auto accessories, it will change the data and refresh accordingly. If I choose electronics and click OK, it has picked up data for electronics. If I choose home furniture, it has picked up data for home furniture. Now, there might be a question that, you know what, I am getting this information from, getting these particular orders delivered or booked from a specific supplier. I want to see a combination of more than one thing. What do I do? Use this option called select multiple, and then choose between two stuff, right? So I want fashion and auto accessories to be selected together. Here we never had that option, right? Here you can do it, but for that you need to go to developer tab, create some more additional features, which is more complex. But in pivot, it is very simple, that you just add that to the value and then say select multiple or don't select multiple. If you select multiple, you can choose from what you want to see. You want to see all, or you want to see a combination, or you want to see only one. All that is possible with the help of one click. Now, all this is fine, but how about creating a chart? This looks much fancy and cool going, right? How about I converting my pivot also to a chart? Is that possible? Yes, it is very much possible. To add that, all I need to do would be is go to insert, and let's say I want a chart this time. Okay, friend, please create a chart. So I have the chart readily available, but this looks little odd. I see a lot of unnecessary information on it. Can I get rid of it? Yes, it is possible. How is, just click on any one of them, right click and say hide all field buttons. Now this chart will look exactly same the way it is. Now here, this guy is on the right. I will tell, please change this element to the bottom. So it's legend and move it to bottom. This guy is here. Now, what I don't have is chart title. I will click on it. Chart title has come. Now, I want this guy to be called as a line. So what I will do is I will right click on this and say change series type. And this time I'll say you are in secondary axis and you are a line, and click OK. All that information that you saw here is now repeated exactly here, just that the products what I selected is different. That's the reason why it is so. But otherwise, this pivot will work exactly the same way, right? Like I said, more convenient, more powerful, but it has got its own restriction, just that it requires you to be a little more mindful, right? A little more mindful. Let's try going one step ahead and add some more values or details to it. Like what? Okay, let's say that I want to add more data. What happens? If you remember a while ago, I had removed some amount of information from it, which is these 25,000 amount of data I had removed. Now, if you just paste it, so I will create another column which can give us the count. Okay, so I will just say order ID as count. Okay, now it has got a count. The count is 7505, right? That was only for auto accessories, so I will choose it to all so that you're not confused. So it has got about 24,999. Obviously, the first row is ignored. That is the label. If I highlight this, I get to see 24,999. That's exactly what the pivot says. Now I have some information available in sheet 4. I want it to be available here, right? Now I have pasted it Now the row count is 51291. My pivot is not updated. Why? Because at the time of creating a pivot, you told that the pivot starts from row number 1, goes on till 25,000. So it is not changed, right? It has not picked up the complete data. Now, how do I address this? How do I go back and change the data? To do so, you will have to go to your pivot and then tell the system that, you know what, please change my data source. Okay. So you click on this, it tells that change data source. This time it can clearly call out that you have selected from row number A1 to column U2500. Now I don't want it to happen. I want the complete data to be selected. To select it, I will just click on anywhere on the sheet. Either press Ctrl A, that's the shortest way. It has picked up the last row, and click OK. Right now you see that all the rows are being selected. Okay, that's one way of doing it. And I would rather prefer another way of doing it. What is that? Is when you have created this pivot, right? When you create the pivot, ensure that you select the complete column, which is column A to U. There is no restriction of row, right? Here, the benefit of it, I'll come a while ago. Here, it will load entire row. Only problem to you would be is you will see instead of months, one more empty row will come, right? One more empty row will be selected by default. Why? Because the data has got empty data, right? So it has identified uniques and it is showing. So it is found that there is one empty row, I mean one unique row which is empty. So it is showing that. But then the benefit of it is that next time when you copy paste the data into the same file, all you need to do this time would be is refresh. If you click refresh, it will change its data and pick up all the rows, right? You don't have to be really concerned here. I need to go back, choose the top row, find the last row. No, at the time of creation itself, select data from the first column to the last column. There is no check of empty rows also in this. The system will pick up the data of all the rows by default, right? So that is one of the reason why you need to stick to or prefer selecting all the columns. So for now I will hide the order ID and now try to find some more cuts of data for the same amount of information. So one part of information that we missed here is that I need to know what is the use of column, right? So let's try to find it by adding some more information. What we will do this time is instead of, I mean, along with having month here, let us try to have day here, right? So the day column is already available here. I know the chart will be a little more complex to us, but that's okay. Let us try to understand, right? Like I said, the chart will be more complex and it has got 7 columns for each month, right? So that is the use of column. Now you see that the grand total column is available for row and grand total column is available for column, right? All those can be handled in the design section that you want to see the row grand total, you want to see the column grand total, or you don't want to see both of them. So if I click disable for both of them, all of them are gone. If you keep either one of them and then leave the others, it's up to you how you want to show. So only for row total, you get to see that each row's total is available here. If you want to say that I want to see only for columns, you can see the column is there. If you want to say that I want to see both of them on for rows and columns, I get to see both of them. Now, how do I get rid of this blank? Because it's not making sense. To get rid of it, click on this arrow and just say that I don't want blank to be visible. If the moment you say okay, this will also be gone. Why? Because there is no empty month having, I mean, there is no month having name and empty. So it has automatically arranged by itself where what is standing, right? Now this is pretty good, decent, but a lot of text, right? Too much of information. Let us try to make it more sensible by giving some logical. So 5 minutes are left, so I don't know if it will make sense for us to pick up the other reason of auto arranging columns here. I think, folks, I'll leave here. I don't have much to discuss for the day, because 4 minutes is not enough for me to cover the auto arranging function. I will have to I need more time. So let's connect tomorrow 7 o'clock again. For now, I will leave the topic here itself. So tomorrow when we connect, we will be talking about advanced functions with pivot, which is like calculating columns without having to create supporting columns. Right. Can we put the data of grand total in middle alignment? No, you cannot. So there's a question here. Can I put this grand total in between? So that's where the alignment comes into picture. You cannot rearrange or move this grand total in between. That's the restriction of pivot, because these fields are auto generated and hard coded, so you can't adjust them. Great, we still have 3 minutes, so if anybody has any question, I will be happy to answer. In fact, the employee sheets, if it is already available with you, try to get department-wise earnings or salary in a form of chart. I mean, that should be a kind of practice session for you. You can do it yourself. Mansi, the Excel session will go on till Wednesday. Post that, you will have PowerPoint and then Word. I'm not sure about those days, but Excel will go on till Wednesday. Folks, anybody having any questions for me, please, I'll keep the session open for questions. Let me know. Yes. Oh, sure. Tomorrow is Saturday, so we don't have a class tomorrow. We connect on Monday. Sorry if I use the word tomorrow. We connect on Monday again. There is no class tomorrow. Thanks for that, Harshi. Since there is no class tomorrow, no need to fill attendance tomorrow. I mean, obviously you'll not have the tracker link, whatever. So no need to fill the attendance for tomorrow. Sonam, if you have the question is, how can we get access to the recorded sessions? Now, if you want to get the access to the recorded session, you need to log into ExcelR portal. There you can access all the recorded sessions. I recommend to refer that. Thank you for your information. Good evening. Bye. Take care. Bye-bye. Okay. Since there are no questions coming my way, I will stop the session here. Do write to edl@excelr.com for any questions related to the data or the recording sessions as such, or any other further clarifications that you have. That's it from me. Have a lovely weekend. We'll join again on Monday, 7 p.m. Thanks so much for your time, guys. Bye.